Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 263 of the RRBG podcast. This podcast is a proud member of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com and check out all the amazing shows we have on our network, including the Sofa King podcast, Robots for Eyes, Art and Jacob Do America. I mean, there's one for everything that you're into. If you're into Magic the Gathering, they got you. If you're into the occult, they got you. You're into serial killers, they got you. Everything. Go to podbelly.com, check out the list, and support the network. This episode is also brought to you by Killcliff. My friends over at Killcliff make the best energy drink you can buy in the market today. Clean energy, none of that crap that they put in Monster or any of those Red Bulls. No sugar, just clean power for all the grind you're going to have to put in today. And if you're not grinding today and you just want to relax, they also have CBD drinks to help you recover from any injuries you may have, any kind of inflammation. Maybe you went a little too hard at the gym. CBD drink will get you right back on track. Go to their website, killcliff.com. Check out all their different flavors. My personal favorite Ignite drink is the Cherry Limeade. And in the CBD category, you have to try the Joe Rogan Special. It's the Flaming Joe Pineapple with Jalapeno. It's not that spicy. You just get a little bit of a kick at the end. It's delicious. Go to killcliff.com and tell them that RRBG sent you. This episode is also brought to you by our good friends at Saints Joints. Go to saintsjoints.com to check out all the options that they have. They have these amazing packages with pre-roll joints, which will have pre-rolls from either side of the strain spectrum, either indica or sativa, and they even have multi-strain collections. Pick up one of their amazing Book of Saints. They currently have 2 volumes, volume 2 being a special Halloween edition. It looks like the Necronomicon. It's amazing. They're currently available in Washington and Oregon and will soon be available in California. Go to saintsjoints.com and tell them that RRBG sent you. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at Thunderking Coffee. Thunderking provides organic, air-roasted coffee straight out of Costa Mesa, California. It's seriously some of the best coffee I've ever had. My personal favorite is the Positive Morning Attitude. I order 2 pounds of this almost every 2 weeks because I just can't get enough. But they also have bottled cold brew. They have their special California Christmas peppermint cold brew out right now. You can order it from their website. So go to thunderkingcoffee.com and check it out. Support small, independent businesses, people. In today's episode, I talked to comedian Brian Moses. Unfortunately, we did this episode super early and Brian didn't want to be on camera, so there's no video for this one. But we still had a great conversation. He's been the host of Roast Battle for the last 8 years. They do it live out of the Comedy Store every Tuesday. I'm there hanging out. Or you can watch them on Comedy Central. They got the roast of Bob Saget, the roast of Alec Baldwin, a bunch of huge names. You should check it out. We talked a lot about the show, the kind of crowds that go there, the kind of jokes that are made. We talked about cancel culture. We talked about racial tensions. It was a really, really fun conversation, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to follow him on Instagram at Brian Moses for breakfast or on Twitter at Race Banning. If you get a chance, click down there at the little follow button and the subscription button and the notification button, all the buttons that'll help us get on the algorithm and get the show to grow. And if you get a chance, go to patreon.com/RRBG and support the show. Cheers. Good morning. How are you doing?
You know, I'm good. I'm just, I'm a little tired. I was up late last night. I got back from a show late, so I'm just a little tired, and everybody around me's sick. So I'm just like, all right, my face is all puffy right now. I'm just like, what's happening?
What kind of sick, man? Are we worried?
I mean, yeah. I mean, everybody seems like everybody around me seems like they're like, oh, I think I have COVID, and they go into their doctor or whatever, they get their test, and it's not COVID. Somebody's got bronchitis. Somebody's got tonsillitis.
It's flu season.
It's flu season. Yeah, somebody's got a cold. So yeah, it's no COVID yet, but I'm waiting to see if like who's got it. So I have to go fucking get tested.
Yeah, man, that shit sucks. And especially since you're a showrunner, like, you know, You got stuff
Yeah.
to do. You got places to be.
I got places to be, but also, I had it back in like late July, and I think I'm pretty solid. But we'll see. You know, what I mean, that's almost. We're going into my 6 months, so I
Okay.
don't know what's up with COVID. Might go get a booster or something.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that this weekend, man, just to be safe because I go out too much.
Same. You
know, I go every Tuesday now. I've been going to Roast Battle, which you are host. Is that what we call you? Roast Master? No, you're not Roast Master. You're host.
No. I just curate the show, as I'd say. I'm the host. We created it fucking 8 years ago.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it is nuts. And so I just produced the show. I host the show, and ultimately, created the show, and then I curate the show.
Okay, and so tell me a little bit about what it takes to curate this kind of show. Like, where are you getting these battlers? Because I mean, some of these people, like the last time I went, they were all, like you call them, virgin suicides. Yeah. So, like, I mean, where are you finding these people? Are they just hitting you up?
Yeah. So our whole thing when we first started was it wasn't really about like pitting people together because it was we never planned on doing this show. I think people should know that roast battle wasn't something where just like we should do roast battling. This came organically, which was why the title of the show came organically. The way the first two guys ever battled, Josh Martin and Kenny Lyon, it was organic. So I think like our whole thing was, if you have an opponent and they've seen the show, you bring them to us, kind of a thing. And ever since July something in 2013, every Tuesday since then, we've had a plethora of people being like, I want to do this. I want to do this. So, I mean, the list is long. The schedule is crazy because there's so many new people who happen to see a roast battle or know what a roast battle is. And then they want to come to the world famous Comedy Store and do the world famous roast battle in the Comedy Store. So then, it's not Craigslist, but anybody can hit us up. I mean, we've had journalists, we've had authors, we've had ad salesmen, we've had just like regular everyday people just like come and just like, I want to battle. Me and my buddy just want to battle each other in front of Jeff Frost or Whitney Cummings or whoever the heck is up there at that time. So I think it's just the appeal of the place and the show that just brings these brand new people who've never done stand up just to come and try to tell jokes in front of their peers at their friends.
Yeah, I mean that to me is a great idea. I see people, hang out with people. You see them roasting each other. I have a bunch of old Cuban buddies that we have a group chat that's all it is. It's just roasting each other all day.
Love it.
No matter what accomplishment, like, hey man, oh my God, my business did, record numbers this week, and they're like, well, fuck your business, and they just start, burning them for no reason.
Yeah.
Instead of supporting, like, good job, it's the complete opposite. But it's
kind of what Jeff Frost says. It's like the whole we roast the ones we love.
Right.
So it's easier to kind of talk trash about somebody when you know them personally and you also love them. So it's weird. It would be weird if it was just people who don't know each other going in there because, like Jeff was saying, I want to say last week at the show, the jokes aren't as specific and they don't land as hard
right.
because we've all at this point now we've all been kind of established to know what a street joke is, what the general surface level joke is, and what your mama joke is, kind of a thing, and we try to stay away from those. So it's usually easier when people know each other. You don't get as many general or just like street jokes that you may hear, or especially that we've heard in the last 8 years. There's so many variations of like 3 jokes I could tell you.
Yeah.
Over the last 8 years of roast, I'm just like, God, it's like if they've never seen the show, they wouldn't have done. If they've seen the show, they would have never done that joke. And I think one of the jokes specifically I'm saying is the this guy looks like a child molester. And also the child he's molesting. Like that's.
Man, I've heard that one so many times.
I mean, it is like I remember hearing it for the first time in roast battle, and then like I hear it all the time now. I mean, like you hear it almost like at least like once a month in a battle.
Yeah, I mean that is my favorite type of comedy. I think roasting and feeling uncomfortable sometimes actually adds to the experience for me. Like.
Absolutely.
When you have these people there that they're trying their best for the first time ever on stage, and it's cringy, but to me the cringe is actually kind of like exciting. Can you hear me?
I couldn't agree more. And that's I think and that's just from a personal standpoint, that's just kind of my get down. I love dark stuff. I my whole get down. My whole set is dark material. It's not so
just because you're black.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I think it's not so much about cringe because it's going to make you think and it's going to get your brain thinking about all these weird things because in the roast battle, right? Like it's cringe because you may hear some things that you're not supposed to hear, right? You may hear something that might be racist. You may hear something that might be misogynistic, xenophobic, right? Any kind of phobia or any kind of ism, you're going to hear it in the roast battle. And the whole reason it works is because we're all consenting, right? We're all adults up there. We're all over 21. We're all allowed to engage in adult beverages. So things are going to be said, and we're allowing ourselves to assume risk that something is going to be said. The audience included, right? Not just the battlers. So it doesn't work if everybody isn't consenting and wanting to be in there. We're not trying to go over your head like, oh, you have to see this. We're just like, no, you can come see it if you want. If you don't, I mean, you know, you might be better served not to, because we're going to say some crazy shit in here.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, props to the Comedy Store for, you know, giving that a room even, because I know that, you know, it used to be in the main room, but I can see how, you know, anybody that's trying to like not get canceled or whatever wouldn't want to be a part of that. But I don't, you know, I think it's fucking beautiful that we need that. Yeah. We need that room. We need a room to do that in, because otherwise it becomes weird and sterile.
Yeah, I like the belly room the best. If people who haven't been to the Comedy Store, it's got 3 rooms: the original room, the main room, and the belly room. The original room is the second biggest room there. It's got a window inside of the room. That way, like, people who are sitting inside the room can like look out on the street on sunset. It's also the most famous room in the place. That's the original room. That's the most famous room. And then the main room, the main room is this big 400, 300 seat showcase room, right? It's like where the Rat Pack used to play, your Sammy Davis Jr.'s or Frank Sinatra's. It was a huge like music venue in the 40s. Now it's just like this big showcase room for bigger sets for comics. And then the belly room is like this experimental room that was built for women in the 80s. I think it's like Roseanne Barr and Whoopi Goldberg might have made it famous. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's kind of the lore of that room, because it was made for the women. It's called the belly room because the mobsters used to take their mistresses up there, and there were belly dancers up there. So they call it the belly room. And it's just the most experimental room. It's where Kill Tony started. It's where we started 8 years ago. Yeah. We only went to the main room, I think, when the pandemic lockdown stopped, just because everybody wanted to come back and see comedy. So it was like we couldn't just seat 60 people in a room. 250 to 300 people wanted to see it. So we're like, all right, yeah, cool, come and see it. And now we're back in the belly because it just makes more sense in there for us. We like it grimy. We like it dangerous.
Yeah, it does have that vibe. You know, you got the band chilling on the floor right there, like in the crowd. You know, and it's ridiculous too, because you're mentioning, you know, pretty much anybody can hit you up to be on the show, but
anybody.
The firing squad is some of the best comedians in the scene all the time, and not just comedians, but you know, you got like Jason Reitman chilling up there, like, right. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, we that's always kind of been a thing. It's weird. It's ever since Jeff Ross really started coming through, then that's when you started seeing the celebrities. Like Jim Carrey's been there. One of the Andretti kids have been there. What's the name? The guy who did all the Rush Hour movies. Also the guy who they played, Jordan Belfort from The Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, like, the list goes on. Dave Chappelle, Kevin.
I've been there, you know. Yeah.
The list goes on, dude. I'm just like the people who come in. So it's fun because you really do get a trichotomy of things, right? Like, you're seeing these 2 battlers on stage. You're seeing an audience who wants blood, which is the peers of the comics on stage for the most part. And then you have your idols, or like these heroes, basically just kind of, you know, looking at these kids who are battling on stage and commenting on it. I mean, there's so much going on in that room, and it's a lot of fun because you're getting basically a whole scene in there. You're getting the top tier guys who are judging, and then you're getting all your peers basically in the audience watching, you know, these 2 young comics attack each other.
Yeah, man, it's perfect for me. I mean, I enjoy a good, you know, O-room night where it's just like 20 comedians back to back hitting 15-minute sets or whatever. But yeah, there's something about the roast battle and Kill Tony too. I mean, that's pretty much what got me into the store was Kill Tony. Oh, but really? Yeah, because I used to live in Long Beach. Yeah, I used to live in Florida. Let's start there. But then I moved to California about 5 years ago, and I you know, we started in Long Beach, and then I once I got to Long Beach, I'm like, you know what, I need to start hitting the Comedy Store because I loved comedy growing up. Florida doesn't get much. I mean, we had the Improv down there, but it's not a great comedy scene. You know what I mean? Yeah. So as soon as I moved out here, I was like, I need to start taking trips out there, and I would go to Kill Tony on Mondays, but it was a 45-minute drive from Long Beach. You know what I mean?
Eddie, that's fucked up.
Yeah, and I'd stay out. I would hang out with Tony in the back. We'd be smoking weed, talking to people, and it's like, oh, it's 2 a.m. now. I got to drive 45 minutes to Long Beach. So I moved. When we moved, we actually decided to move closer to the store. Like that was one of the parameters of like what we were looking for. My wife and I.
So so now you live in West Hollywood now?
Yeah, I'm like 6-7 minutes from the store now.
Oh, gorgeous. Great work.
Yeah. Because I'm not a comedian, but there's just something about the Comedy Store that I can't leave. Like I want to be there. I felt really bummed after Kill Tony left because I was going every Monday and that was like my thing. I'm like, oh, cool, every Monday I'm at the store. That's great. But then there was a period of time after he left where I was kind of like, well, the store's not even open. They're not really doing full on shows. And then they started doing the shows, and little by little, I finally now roast battle is my thing. I need to be there every Tuesday for roast battle.
Yeah, I've seen you, brother. My goodness, it's awesome. Yeah, we get a few regulars in there now who kind of stuck with us, so it's cool.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've just been worried about getting. The thing that I was doing with Kill Tony was like bringing some of the guests from the show. I'd be like, hey, the Peanut from 311 wants to show, or fucking DJ Lethal from Limp Bizkit wants to show up. So I've been kind of hesitant in that, but seeing how it's been going, and the crowds are getting better every night. It's getting more packed. I don't think the scene is dead as they're trying to paint it over there in Austin.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's different out here now. It's not the same. I mean, they painted that way in Austin because Austin's thriving because it's they got a head start in everybody. In LA, I mean, I'll be honest, the scene is there's a lot of scar tissue. Not so much is dead, but I think a lot of people, there's a lot of loyalty issues happening in the scene right now because of because guys left, because guys got talked about. There's a lot of mistrust, I think, and it's just it's a healing process in LA, unlike in New York and in Austin.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It is different. I'm not going to lie. But
that's different, bro.
But I just don't, I've been kind of hearing some people out there that just there's no shows, nothing's open. It's like, well, that's not true.
Right.
And you're not helping the scene by saying shit like that because people need to know that it's open. You can stay in Texas, that's fine. You don't need to come back, but don't fucking shit on the scene. It's open.
Right. But hey, it's comedy is a competition, and I think
very cutthroat sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, and I think in our genre of show business, I just feel like there isn't a lot of support, and I think it's a lot of pseudo support. I think a lot of when I see it, I think it's why a lot of comedians when they get in the scene, they're like, oh, this guy's too happy, kind of a thing, and then they take all that joy away from all those people when they're coming up. They're just like, don't be happy, you gotta, it's like being a wrestler, They just want you to be so unhappy and just like. You shouldn't be this happy about this industry. Like, oh, you're only getting things because of this. And then I think when guys are being jumped on or attacked and then all these comics are jumping on them and not even listening about the victims so much from some of the things that were being said when these guys were going through some of those things about their allegations, the comics came after them in just a shitty way. Like they started attacking their art and they weren't attacking, the allegations so much. And I just thought that was weird because it was like, no, do that shit on your own time. I remember talking shit about Chris D'Elia on my own time. And then when he went through his bullshit, I was like, yo, this isn't about me. This isn't about my hate for Chris D'Elia or whatever I'm saying it from a general comic standpoint. Mm-hmm. It's not even about my dislike for this guy's art. This isn't about that. So don't make it about that. And I just think that those guys getting dragged, now those guys are coming back. The Jeff Rosses, the Chris D'Elias, right? Not even coming back. They didn't go anywhere. And I think that a lot of people who were trying to drag them are seeing that now. They're like, oh shit, these guys aren't going anywhere. I need to reconcile with these guys and maybe apologize because I don't want to be seen as somebody who is going against two guys who are draws in the industry. And I just don't see a loyalty in that. It's like, if you guys are going to pick battle lines, then you have to stay with your side.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I just think that, and you don't see that in music. You don't really see that in, maybe not in acting. I don't know. But I definitely in comedy, I'm just like, there's too much of there's a thirstiness more of a than a hunger, I think. And I hate that.
Yeah.
So I can see why Austin's saying the scene is dead because the real motherfuckers left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it.
And the ones that kind of stayed are wishy-washy, and you can't trust anybody anymore. It's actually insane.
Yeah. I mean, the closest I can see to something like that, like you said, I do see it in the metal scene in music. There's some people that you see them backstage, and that they're there for one purpose. You know what I mean? They're not there to hang out with their boy. They're there to, hey, like, rub elbows and, network and shit, which is me most of the time. But most of the time it's me back there. But I'm actually friends with a lot of the bands, so it works out. But yeah, it's that vibe. I see it in wrestling, like you said. There's a lot of competition and stabbing behind people's backs, like whatever puts me over and puts me on top. That's the way to go. And it's a shitty way. It is really shitty. That you should be lifting each other up, I think.
Sure.
I don't know.
It's just a hell of a street gang mentality. I feel like it's like. Yeah, it's like, oh, you're a store person. Oh, you're an East Side comic. It's
right,
there's
alt
so
comics.
Alt comics, club comics. Yeah. So,
people doing backyards. How dare you?
Right. Yeah. I won't go to the club because I don't want to take a picture or be seen with that person. I don't want.
Oh, my God.
Exactly. It's like, is this my tribe kind of a thing,
Right.
So,
I don't know.
Anyway.
I still feel the Comedy Store has potential and like this magic in it that I think it's not. I think it'll get back on its feet.
It'll be fine. I think that's what the store banks on is like, we'll be fine. We've always been fine. I mean, listen, I got there in 2010 and it was the doldrums, right? They were still reeling from like the 9/11 you couldn't be funny thing, right? Because their biggest acts right after 9/11 were the Axis of Evil, Maj Jobrani, Ahmed Ahmed, and Aaron Cater, Sam Tripoli, all those guys, right? Like it was all about the Middle Eastern comic and a little more diversity when it came to that. And then that kind of dissipated. And then it was just, they didn't know, there was nobody really rising and bubbling up until all of a sudden, Chris D'Elia, Whitney Cummings, and then the Booker gets fired. And all of a sudden, Joe Rogan comes back, right? All of a sudden, the store is great again in 2014 on. Or I'll say the end of 2014 on until the pandemic and the lockdown. That place was the greatest club on earth. Like there wasn't a better lineup I ever saw. Maybe at the Cellar over in New York, but it was like that wasn't happening for 4 years before I got there. And then they even say before that, when Tony started in 2007, I think he was like, it was bad then too. He was saying so. I mean, the store had like a weird, just dark ages period, and then it just started thriving and flourishing. And I think people need to remember when the Carlos Mencia Joe Rogan thing happened, and then Joe Rogan left. There was a long period of time where the store just wasn't the place. And even when Rogan was there before he became huge, and before he was even beefing with Mencia, it wasn't the place to go. I mean, they were having problems getting people in there. So ever since Rogan comes back, he's huge. The Ascension of Kill Tony, the Ascension of Roast Battle, all of a sudden the store's the hottest place in town. People want to be there. So you're right. It does have magic to always turn because it's always kind of righted itself, no matter how long it takes, right?
Yeah, and even right now, if you want to say that it's a dark time, as comedians want to say that, but it's still selling out.
Dude, I don't
doing much better than it was in the dark days.
I don't think it's selling. This isn't the dark ages. This isn't the dark ages at all. The dark ages for comedy is when a club is relying on not just promoted shows from outside promoters of the club,
making a comedian's flyer outside and shit, right?
Yeah, they're flying outside. They're doing bringer shows. I mean, like that's tough.
Yeah,
this is something different. This is people want to be out. They know the history of the store. They know that it's popular. It's world famous. So they're gonna come out because they want to be out. But the scene in general is like, it's cold. It doesn't feel inviting, right? I used to feel inviting and cool and feel a little dangerous because you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get fucked in here. I'm going to get drugged in here. I'm going to laugh my ass off in here. Now I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to see like some cool comics and then I guess I'm going home. I mean, that's what it feels like at the store now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
There is not, the party vibe is gone, but I think that's, the pandemic. I think that's because of the pandemic, not because the people left. You know what I mean? I think the people that are here are still fucking degenerates and they'll do whatever, but
totally,
but everybody's scared of the virus.
Yeah, souls have been crushed, Eddie.
Yeah, man, it's pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie. It's taken me a while to get back on the train of going to the store every Tuesday because, I let it get to me for a bit. I let the pandemic freak me out. I swear, I thought it was over, dude. There was a moment in time where I looked around and I was like, "This is it. We're done." Everything's closed. There was no food in the supermarket that I was going to. I'm like, what the shit? What? It's over. I went and I bought a gun. I bought some knives. I bought one of those fucking go bags. I'm like, I'm ready to fucking go just in case. because it's over. And then it kept going. So, and things started opening up, and now we're looking at the fucking bullshit Omicron thing. Now things are getting, reverting again. There's now more mask mandates again. I'm like, shit, we gotta figure this out.
You know what, man? I hope this is the variant that makes it endemic, right? It makes it like the flu or like the common cold of like, we're just gonna have to deal with this. So let's revert back to 2019 and just figure it out, everybody.
Yeah,
and that's what I hope this does. It's like, it makes us endemic, because I don't think we're ever getting rid of this thing.
No,
like the cold or the flu. And I think now this proves that airborne viruses are extremely hard to take down when it comes to 7 billion people on the earth. So if this makes us, if this Omicron makes this whole thing for human society endemic, to, by all means do it, because Omicron, they say, is like, it's only killed one person.
Yeah.
It's just, there's hella cases, which means that everybody's going to get it. So if everybody gets it, if every human gets it, then what do we say? Okay, cool. Let's just keep getting boosters every 6 months just to keep us from dying, and just go from there. And that will be our life for the next who knows how long.
Yeah, that's why we have scientists. That's why people go to school for 12 years, so that they can figure out how to keep us alive. My buddies are all, I have some of the, crazier conspiracy theory Cuban friends that are like, I don't know what the fuck is in that. I'm not putting it. I think, dude, you already have 27 vaccines from Cuba. You have no idea.
Right, though. You know what I
mean? Your body is filled with vaccines right now. You have no idea. Yeah. And it's, that's what we're doing this for. That's why people go to school. Like, I don't understand this concept of, they're trying to get to us. They're putting chips in us. I'm like, you have a phone. You're good,
right. Dude. I mean, legitimately.
So
I've said that before. I'm like, you're literally saying this like on the microchip. Like, what are you talking about?
They know exactly. They have a camera looking at me all the time. Like, I'm not going to stop it. I need it for work.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go back a little bit to what you were saying about, we were talking about, I don't want to talk about specific comedians and getting canceled and whatnot, but what I do want to talk about is, I feel like I'm starting to see more like cancel culture. Like, we're trying to move away from that. And I want to, but it's such a thin line, right? Like, I don't want to let people be racist outside. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, that's the balance, man. I think that's kind of our job right now, is to figure that part out. Because if you want to be this, this go against the grain, freedom of speech person, we still have to be responsible for speech, because speech, isn't always responsible, right? But I think we have to be responsible for it, because if it becomes irresponsible, then certain things can't happen. And public opinion is gonna say what's right to say, what's wrong to say, and it's our job to find that sweet spot of, hey, we're just trying to be funny, and is this funny? Oh, it's racist. Okay, cool. I'll figure something else out. And I think that's just kind of what it is. So we can say anything. I don't think anybody's taking away the right to say anything. You're just not going to get paid to say it if they don't like it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's just but that's the job. Your job is to find your market, right? So you can go make money for your family or for yourself and provide. So if you can't, if the market is shifting, well, then you got to figure out where the market's going. It's what day traders do all the time.
Yeah. That's why I'm grateful I grew up poor, because I had to figure shit out. A lot of people don't grow up that way. They see the world shifting and they're like, what do I do now? Like,
right. And then they become stagnant, and then they just become bitter. And that's when you get your theater shooters, your mass shooters. But
I think the secret lies in how the people are telling each other. Like, okay, like you were saying, you say something, you make a joke, and then somebody goes, hey man, that was racist. And then you're like, oh shit, I think you are more open to taking into consideration that what you said, if somebody approached you in that way, like, politely. But the problem is that people just go straight for the throat. You know what I mean?
They become defensive, and
that's people react defensively to that. Like, if somebody screams, oh, what are you fucking doing? Are you crazy? You're being like, immediately my mechanism is put my hands up, Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? You want to fight me? Like, what the fuck's happening? You know?
Then it becomes fighting words.
Yeah.
You know, and that's never productive.
Yeah.
Unless that's your business, it's fighting.
Yeah, well, yeah. Unless you're a fighter, yeah.
Yeah, but I think listen, every culture has a counterculture, so it's fun to see that the PC counterculture is bubbling up again. So I even think in the '80s this happened when the yuppies were a thing and they were trying to take away speech, right? They were like, oh, you can't do that, oh, you can't show that. It was like, it was anti Madonna because she's showing too much skin. Like they had that whole thing of censorship. So this is just another.
Wow, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like another
wave of that.
Exactly. So I think we just have to kind of ride the wave, and they'll keep saying what we can't say, and then ultimately guys will say it. People think it's funny, and then this next generation will be like, "Hey, we're fine with it," or "Hey, we're not," and we just have to navigate that. And I think like in stand up, I've learned that so much of you just have to. It's either your time or it's not. And right now it's like it's kind of like when Lilith there was a thing in the mid '90s, and then it wasn't. All of a sudden, it was all about nu metal. Right?
Oh yeah. You
know what I mean? So like right now, it's like we're being a little sensitive right now. We're Lilith fan. Not saying, by the way, that the art isn't great in the Lilith fair. I mean, like those are some of the greatest musicians in the history of music.
Yeah.
But it's just some people look down on that, being like, and then you have nu metal that rises from out of that generation. So I think this anti PC thing is gonna be the same thing. We're gonna get a bunch of aggressive dudes or ladies. Or non-binary people saying who might be going against the grain here in the next 5-6 years, and that might be the norm in the next 5-6 years.
Yeah, we introduced a new attitude era.
Yeah,
yeah, it's interesting. Like I was thinking about as you were saying that during that wave, there was actually in wrestling there was a team called Right to Censor.
I remember that, dude.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same guy.
They show up with the briefcase and the tie. Yeah.
Oh my god, he was so buff. Yeah.
And they ended up expanding. They had I forget her name, but they had a lady in the group as well, and she was awesome because she looked like a mean teacher,
Yeah, exactly.
It was great.
That's not where China started, right? Or was it
no.
China? Okay.
No, China was with DX, the Suck It crew.
Yeah. Dude, it was crazy. I think right before China had passed, she was booked to do the roast battle.
What?
I mean, do we get a lot? It's weird. We have a lot of people who kind of cross through the roast battle. I guess Spider-Verse.
The Spider-Verse.
Yeah, the roast verse. And I mean, like Big Black. He was the week Big Black was there at roast battle. He's with the All Nigga Wave, which is like it's not there anymore. Nobody's seen it, but it's like this improv troupe who does like these like impromptu things and gets the crowd hyped. They're nuts. And then Big Black was like hanging out with them and being part of the wave. We called the Big Nigga Wave that night. And then he died the next week. Remember, we played a Prince song, and somebody came out and just like we just started like singing a Prince song like with the audience one night. Next week, Prince is dead. It's just there's so many weird things. I think I can't say this, but it was crazy because we were just like it was the curse. We thought Jim Carrey had a girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
She was gone, and it was just like, dude, what is going on? It's like we were the kiss of death.
That's crazy.
But that's also a very Comedy Store. If you know the Comedy Store history, it's like it's haunted. So
you gotta get some Santeria in you, bro. You gotta get some Cuban Santeria to clean you out. That's what's going on.
Yeah, you're right.
It's nuts, man. Here it's so funny because I don't practice it. I don't believe in it. But it's weird. I guess I do believe in it because I see it. I've seen it work.
Okay.
I've seen it I've seen it work. I've seen my mother do it and like affecting another human being, and I was just like, holy shit.
That's amazing.
I'm still not going to practice it. I'm not going to wear all the jewelry and start smoking cigars into a cup. Like I can't do all of that. but it works, man. And and I think it has a lot to do with just your mindset. It's a placebo effect. You do this ritual, and then in your head, you're like, all right, now I'm clean, and then you start doing things right. But it's just because you're convinced yourself now because of these rituals that it's working.
Right. I love that. Yeah. I love an energy shift. Yeah. A mindset. That's great. That's powerful.
I want to go back again. And you said the N-word wave. I wanted to ask your opinion.
Yeah.
And your thoughts as a Cuban. Am I allowed to say the N-word in a friendly manner to my friends?
I mean, hey, I'm one of those black guys who don't think I speak for the entire.
Did you just call me a spick? I'm just kidding.
No. I'm one of those black guys who doesn't think he speaks for all black people. So I may say one thing. Jamar may say one thing.
And that's true. That's true.
And then a black person will be like, "Hey, man, you can't say that in front of me." So I'm not going to say you can or can't, but.
Because in Miami, where I grew up, it was commonplace. Like all the Cubans, all that, that's just how we talk to each other in a non-aggressive way. And when I moved out here to LA, I made a Facebook post because some of my homies from Miami were coming to town to play a show, and I was like, my ninjas are in town, and I got a call from my boss immediately.
Whoa!
Are you putting the N-word on social media right now? I'm like.
Wow, that's your plight, man. You don't even know if you can say it because Asian cats have the same problem. Mexican cats have the same problem. Puerto Rican cats might have the same problem. It really is just, it's the more white passing you are, people kind of like, hey, man, can you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just what it is. I think if you were darker, you'd be fine.
I need to be a little darker. I'm a little like olive, but I could pass more as a Muslim than I can a Cuban or an African American.
Yeah, dude, it's fun. I don't feel bad for people who can't say it, but I'm also like, man, it is so much fun on this side right now to be able to say it. Like, it doesn't hurt anybody's feelings. I think it's just such a great time in Black history to be a black person. Like, it's probably the greatest time in history. Like, I would never. Like, people are always like, oh man, back in my day, I would go back in time. I'm like, dude, I would never go back in time.
No. Why would you do that?
I would only go forward.
Especially here in America. Don't go back too far, because then...
No! You can only go back to, 2006, maybe. Like, right after Hurricane Katrina, where everybody's like, oh, shit, we hate black people. All right, let's...
Yeah, right when Obama had office and things were great.
Right then, dude, yes. Like, that's as far back as we can go.
Yeah, I try to convince my wife sometimes because I grew up in the hood in Jersey, so I'm a little gangster.
Okay.
But I diverged in terms, like, I still listen to hip hop, but my majority is like rock and metal now. Whereas it should have, my beginnings were hip hop and R&B and all that shit. But it's I tell my wife all the time.
So then how do you fall into it? I mean, I love somebody who has like an eclectic music taste, and also, I mean, you play music, so it's like, how do you go from the fantasy of gangster rap and the love storytelling of R&B to the fantasy world that is metal?
Well, I obviously started playing like guitars and stuff, and like I never took lessons or anything. I just kind of fucked around at home. But then once I started getting an understanding of how that works, like what I need to do in order to create a melody, then I started appreciating song structure. And then that's when I started appreciating song structure, that's when I started appreciating more rock and metal, because they are technical. Like, it's way more technical.
Right.
Hip-hop is more about, like, feeling a groove, feeling a vibe, and, like, just getting into that zone. Whereas with metal, it's more about, look at these crazy things we can do with our fingers and with with time signatures, and we'll fuck with your head so that your head bobbing one way, but then all of a sudden it switches up on you. You're like, oh shit, And I also started finding small elements of hip hop in metal, like just the way they have breakdowns, for example. Like some of the breakdowns are very gangster.
Bro, Slipknot. I mean, you were talking about keeping time, and I was just like, I said about Slipknot. I was just like, like they had like the fucking two drummers, like that was crazy. Like they rock, dude.
Well, they have one drummer and then two guys with percussion kits that can include a beer keg for some reason.
It's like go-go music, geez.
Yeah, but also Slipknot, like that's another element there too. Like the first album, he raps on that album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you listen to a song like "Spit It Out," he's rapping.
Oh shit!
Check out, it's one of their first singles. If you go back, listen to that first single, "Spit It Out," and he's basically rapping the entire verse, and then they hit the chorus or whatever, where it's like metal, and people mosh for a bit, and then he goes back to rapping really fast, and it's
Spit It Out. That's so fucking cool. All right, I'm in.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts, and I love mixing that too. Some people get shit on it. A lot of like metal elitists shit all over new metal. When they started combining, hip hop with metal, they were shitting on it. Like, oh, this is bullshit, this commercial bullshit. But to me, it's just that weird elitist mentality. That whole, like, That's almost like there's a hint of racism in there. You know what I mean?
Correct. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
on the rap side too, it's like, when they start incorporating more metal, they're like, that white boy shit, which is so.
That white boy shit.
So.
Yeah, there's a whole thing too. I haven't really fallen too much into that, but there's like some trap artists that are mixing it with death metal. Like I know Ghostmane does like trap metal, if that's
trap metal, right? There's trap metal. I think there's now trenches in country. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, man. It's pretty cool. I mean, I love music, so it's fun to see that. But I mean, I also like in the leaders too. It's just like you keep my metal, you keep my country,
right.
You keep my hip hop, and then never the three shall meet, kind of a thing. So I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I like the experimentation, which I think is fun. But again, there is the go-tos, right? The stuff you go to. So what's your go-to when you're, let's say, I want a couple different scenarios. Like when you're driving, what's your go-to? And when you're getting ready for work, what are you listening to when you're getting ready for work or when you're driving, just cruising around?
All right. If I'm getting ready for work, it's probably a playlist. Or if I'm like really getting ready and not paying attention, I'll put on like an album that just has a groove and I can just like chill to it. Like the other day I was playing like Channel Orange by Frank Ocean just because I was like, I just want to kind of hear a crooner and some like smooth grooves as opposed to like paying attention to the lyrics,
Right.
If I'm in the car though, I'm like, yeah, I'm putting on an album or like a playlist that I want to listen to the lyrics. Just because I like bars, bro. I like people who can spit. If you're saying something that's gonna like put my mind somewhere else, I love that. I'm just like, I can't believe you put those words together. Oh shit, I love that metaphor. Oh, that's a punchline. That's crazy. These guys are hilarious.
Yeah.
So I like to pay attention and focus in the car. And then I'm just getting ready. I just like I'll play an instrumental or just like an album or a playlist. I know I don't have to pay attention too much to.
You feel it like it hypes you up like entrance music for a UFC fighter or for a wrestler?
Yeah, it just gets me in a sweet mood. Like my buddy, he plays Steely Dan right now. He's like in Steely Dan mode right now before he goes out for a show. So nice. I get that. I get that. Like you want to be as zen as possible, really. That way you can go get nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something about performance that's interesting to me because it's consistent in any industry. But when you're hitting a certain moment when you're about to perform, I feel like you switch. And I know this is going to sound LA as fuck, but you're switching frequencies.
Right.
Like I'm here talking to you right now, but for example, I've seen it happen a lot with people that do when they rap freestyle. There's like a switch that happens in their head, and now they're somewhere else, and those words are just coming out. And I've tried it, and I can't do it. I've never gone to that. I've never gone to that channel. I've tried it, and it sounds like shit. So like I've never been able to tune to that frequency, but I've seen it happen in people. I've seen them switch off, and I see it in performance, like pro wrestling performances. I see it when bands go on stage. I have switched off when I've been with my band. So like when I'm doing my thing, my singing. I black out.
Right.
Like I don't think about anything. It's just get those notes and then the music's happening and just being in that moment. Because I sang, so I would have to like do stuff, like move around and headbang to get the crowd into it, jump into the crowd. But most of that I'm blacked out for until we're backstage. Like,
Damn. I've heard that. I think Jonathan Dick, the lead singer of Korn said that, I think, on that Music Box documentary on HBO about Woodstock. He says like he just blacked out. I think a lot of those cats just like black out during a performance.
Yeah, because you hit that frequency. You go somewhere else, and I think that's what happens to people when they freestyle rap, or maybe even roast battling. Like if you're not writing, if you're just kind of riffing, or doing crowd work, even like to me that's like you're hitting another frequency because you're able to pick up on these little things and fast, quickly. Like there's no thinking or processing; it's just happening.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You're not thinking. You're just reacting.
Yeah.
That's why I like the roast battle. I mean, that's what it is. Like, there's no script for a lot of us in there. I think the only script that's being read is by the two battlers on stage and their jokes. Everything else is like it's a riff fest, and we're just passing a ball around. And hopefully, it doesn't drop. And if it does, we have to be aware that it dropped, and somebody's got to kick it back to us.
Yeah, or make a joke to kind of divert the attention so somebody can pick up the ball.
Exactly. Like, oh shit! Hey, look at that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what the band does. I mean, when somebody bombs, and then the band makes a sound, and then the crowd pops. You know.
You get our method, man. You get our formula. That's what A&W was about. They don't think away. They were all about just pick up the energy, you know. And then obviously Coach T in the back when we had Coach T. So
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. So what's the plan, dude? Like, are you planning? I know there's been TV versions of the show and all that. Like, but what's the plan for the future for Roast Battle?
I think in 2022, what we want to do is we want to start we want to open for rock festivals. Like we don't want to be, we want to be known as more of a band and like bring like battlers with us and kind of open festivals from a music standpoint. Just because I think it would, because I mean, look, what we do is very just arena band heavy. It's like we do chants, you know, we're getting the crowd involved, right? And like and the jokes that are being said are for the most part it's a dunk contest, so it's going to be huge punchlines. I don't even think we're going to need judges. I think if we do that, I think it will just take the best roast battlers or find good roast battlers in these cities that we're going to be at. Bring the wave, bring the band, bring coach, make it real musical. That way, obviously, we're at a festival, so we can fill that void, which is going to be a crowd and just open air. And then get people chanting, get people nuts, have people see the antics we're doing. I think it's going to make people go crazy, and I think it's going to ultimately make the festivals, you know, go even crazier. But I think that's a shot we should be doing at this point. I think we should be expanding outside of comedy because I don't think comedy plays well with us. I think because of the PC thing, and music kind of gives you a safe haven for that because you can say anything, especially in fucking metal. You guys say anything.
Yeah, I didn't.
You guys write like dragons doing meth. You know, it's just like, all right, yeah.
Dragons doing meth.
Let's jump with these guys.
Thankfully, whenever I wrote lyrics, I never did any like fantasy bullshit. It was mostly just like internalized, you know, mental health issues.
Right. Jesus.
Dude. So when we wrap this up, don't hang up. Give me a minute because I have an idea for you. But yeah, that's a good idea. I think it works perfectly to have live be a part of a festival, and there's so many. There's so many that are happening right now. Like right now, musically, I mean, there's one every other weekend at this point because everyone wants to get out. All of the bands have been cooped up for 2 years, and most of the bands, that's their number one income. It's tour.
Right.
They're selling merch at the shows, and then, you know, they get the door guarantees. Like, that's how they make money. Record sales these days are garbage. No one's buying records. Everybody's streaming it on Spotify, and Spotify pays them like 0.00001. You know, I saw my buddies, they had like one of their biggest years numbers-wise, and they sent me their Spotify check, and it was like $7. I was like,
oh, Jesus, dude. See yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, that's fucking terrible. So not being on the road is really detrimental for bands. But now that it's open, everyone's on the road. Everyone. Right. They're all on giant festivals. Every band, everybody that has multiple bands, they're on tour with all 3 or 4 bands that they're in. It's insane, man. People want to get out. People want to get out. But so how about you personally? I mean, you've done some acting. Mm-hmm. Do you want to do more of that? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you just have to be a jack of all trades in this business. So yeah, the acting, the writing, the producing, all those things. And just I guess jump on the last question. Festivals, and we also have a verbal violence network now. So we're gonna have the Roast Battle podcast coming back. Jamar's Neighborhood's coming out. We have there's albums coming out on that as well. So I think in the future, it's just we're going to be a content network and putting out more things that the people can see. Because I think what we failed with Roast Battle was we weren't really good with our fans. We weren't as interactive as like Kill Tony is, and I think we can be. And I think moving forward, I think that's our move, is to just kind of build our own network and build our fan base and be able to touch our fans like Tony can. Not physically, but from a digital standpoint.
I was going to say, choose your words wisely.
Yeah. Gotta be careful. You can always get what context. Jeez.
Yeah. It's I get you. Roasting your fans is a good move too.
Yeah, if they want it. I mean, people say this stuff all the time, and I'm like, I don't know about that yet. But yeah, I think right now, if we're going to be in this whole world of, hey, we want to be in this, these freedom of speech, and we want to be able to roast people and say what we want, not from a hateful or hurtful level. Get at us. I think we're ready.
Yeah. Man,
as far as personally, I made an album. I did it during the riots of Kyle Rittenhouse in Portland, or the protests, whenever those were. When Portland was going nuts with Kyle Rittenhouse. Didn't get charged with anything. And I think I love it. It's my best piece of work I've done in 14 years. So I'll be putting that out next year sometime, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly how to present that. So
you gonna put it on vinyl, dude? You got to put it on vinyl.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I'm gonna talk to a producer and just like maybe like like really go for it, or just drop like tracks off of it. Like singles. I don't know.
That's an interesting concept, because you think about it in the musical sense. A lot of people don't sit around and listen to a whole album anymore. They got their playlist, and they just kind of, So yeah, I mean, that could work. I mean, I've seen bands do it.
Exactly. Yeah, if I got a hot bit and I just want to put that out, I could just do that. So I might just do that.
Yeah, look at Lil Nas X. I didn't know up until the album actually came out. I didn't know he didn't have an album.
Who?
Because Lil Nas X kept dropping singles. And I was like, oh, cool, I should probably get the album. And then I was like, there's no album. What are you talking about?
Yeah, isn't that great? He's like the biggest artist in the world with no album. And now he's got the biggest album in the world. So
yeah, that's crazy. I was going to tell you, you were saying about Roast Battle. Like, I was thinking about an app similar to like Chatterbait or something, or Chat Roulette, where it connects you with people.
Yeah.
But it's exclusively for roasting.
Right, yeah, like a Roast Me app. Yeah.
Roast Me app. But it would be very difficult to control the amount of naked dicks that show up on that, you know what I mean?
Correct, like Chat Roulette, right.
Roast me, and it's just a dick flopping around.
Yeah. Oh my God. It could be bigger? I don't know, man.
Yeah,
is that a zit or a herp? What is that?
Well, I'm glad to hear it, man. I'm glad to hear that you're doing your thing and trying to be entrepreneurial and spread. Because like you said, it's true, man. You got to be a jack of all trades. That's how I see myself as well. Like, it's the only way to get shit done. I was in a band, and that's one avenue. If I were to lock myself into that for life, it's very limiting. So I had to expand a little bit. So I'm glad to hear that that's what's going on. And yeah, let's talk after this real quick about potential things. But roast battling at music festivals, to me, I think is awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Yeah, I put the APB out there, so we'll see.
So if everybody wants to follow you on the social medias, what's the best option?
Just check out, Roast Battle across all socials. I think we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. You can find anything Roast Battle there. As far as I'm concerned, I'm at Brian Moses for breakfast on IG, and then at Race Banning on Twitter. Two different things. I've got too many aliases like MFN.
Race Banning, nice. You're also an English poet that was born in the 1950s.
It's Brian Moses. It's my guy.
But yeah,
alias, yeah.
Definitely follow Brian. Come out if you're in LA. Come to Roast Battle. You don't know what you're missing. Bro. You don't know what you're missing.
It's like Hamilton. You got to see it.
You got to see it.
You got to hear the N-word.
You got to see Josh up there on stage taking his shirt off, singing "Fuel" from Metallica.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, follow Brian, guys. Thank you so much for your time, dude. I'll see you on Tuesday for sure.
Oh man.
All right. Cheers. All right. I'll stop recording. But hey, so I just did a big ass festival for Decibel Magazine called Decibel Metal and Beer Festival.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I just dropped the first episode today, but like they gave me a stage, they let me fucking do whatever the fuck I wanted. They just basically get all the bands and talk to them and put, I brought out cameras, did a whole production out of it.
Yeah.
But the point is that now I'm in with Decibel, and they are a good door to start that. If you want.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Because they have one in Philly and they have one in LA. The one in
Philly. Really?
Yeah.
Bro. I mean, if we get on the one in LA or Philly, we'd love that.
Yeah, so I'll talk to you about that. I'll reach out to them to see if we can get you on that, because I think that's a good one. And it's a door. Like from that moment on, like now you have access to other festivals. And
exactly.
Yeah, I'm also working with Knotfest, and I think Knotfest would be a huge one. The Slipknot festival.
That's my guys. I love it. Yeah, we wear masks and everything.
But yeah, if I can get, I'll get those emails out and get people interested, because
Eddie, bro, you're my guy. I mean, thank you. We love that. Thank you.
Oh yeah, brother. All right, man. I'll see you Tuesday. Thanks again for doing this.
I'll see you Tuesday, brother. I appreciate this.
All right, man. Later.